Welcome to Cretoni Entertainment. I'm Chris.
I'm Brie.
Welcome to Painting Freeblades.
Ooh, this is a game that we love to talk about, but we hadn't showed you guys
This
before.
is something entirely new. So this is a Trillian Enforcer from the game Freeblades by DGS Games. I painted this as part of a mini exchange, so I've been holding on to this video for a while because the person who finally got the mini said he's not going to open it until Christmas because he wants to kill my video schedule, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I had to ship this to Canada. You may have heard about this in our other videos if you watch any of those.
Yep, $15 later.
So I got a vibe with this mini. This is a Trillian. A Trillian in the game of Freeblades would be compared to wood elves by a lot of people playing more traditional fantasy games. They're not actually elves. DGS Games does not particularly like elves. They don't really have elves in their lore, but you'll notice it's sculpted very similar to what a lot of fantasy elves would look like. But however, you have no pointed ears because all the Trillians have hair over their ears. So you can imagine it as an elf, imagine it as not an elf. It doesn't really matter, but the vibe I got came when I was watching Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers was my background noise for painting this particular miniature.
Yeah.
As we pull out our Nuln oil. So all of that Calibrain green we just painted on the robe, we're going to go all over that with Nuln oil. We want to make it really dark.
Dark green.
So the inspiration came while watching an episode of Bob's Burgers, and it was the episode where Bob and Louise are obsessed with Hawk and Chick, which was the Japanese samurai movie series. And I'm looking at this miniature, and I'm going, this looks like it could be a samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I ran with this.
You decided to make him a samurai.
I did. So we're not going to do this like a wood elf. We're going to do this like a samurai.
I mean,
so
he's obviously a much cleaner samurai than our favorite other samurai, which is Samurai Gourmet.
Witches? Oh no. So
Frank Gourmet.
So we're going back to our Calibrain green. We're just doing a little minor highlighting. So the highest area of the robes, we're going back over with the same color we based it in. We've just made it so much darker with the Nuln oil.
Right. So now you're going to try to lighten it up again?
We want a little bit of definition. And actually, what I want to talk about in most of this video is not even the miniature. I want to talk about Freeblades by DGS Games.
Yes.
Any of you old wargamers who have played Mordheim by Games Workshop back in the day, Freeblades is not dissimilar to Mordheim. It is one of the best written war games on the market right now. It is skirmish-based. You have a hard cap of 18 models in your free band. The rules are 100% free after initial purchase because this is a digital living rulebook. The initial purchase is a $10 rulebook, and then the rulebook contains all of the scenarios, all of the factions, all of everything for that $10 in perpetuity. Every time there's an update, you get it for free. The game, like I said, is phenomenal. It uses a unique tiered dice system. You're not rolling D6s or D8s or D10s. You're rolling all of them.
Yeah.
You're going to be rolling bigger dice to represent the skill of your soldiers rather than looking at a chart and saying, hey, I have a skill of this versus your skill, or looking at a fixed chart saying I hit on a 3 or I hit on a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to say, hey, your leader's going to be rolling a D12 in melee, whereas your archer is going to be rolling...
poor little archer who only rolls a D4. Well, still never hits
archers from melee. And there's a unique spiking mechanic in the game as well. So if you roll the highest number on the die that you're rolling, you get to spike and roll an additional die. And that can continue cascading into some just ridiculous effects that create criticals and whatnot.
Yes.
So we got the corn red, and we're doing this corn red kind of on this area of the robe that we didn't do green, just because we wanted just kind of a cool juxtaposition thing going on.
Yeah. Kind of even with the Christmas kind of...
Yeah, I mean, well, a little bit. I mean, this is going to come out right after Christmas, because I want to make sure that the guy I painted this for has had a chance to see the miniature, right? If he does watch these videos. So we're doing like a red checkerboard pattern on the other side of the robe. So it's going to be red and green checkerboarded on the other side of the robe here. So that's going to take a while to get done, but it's going to look something like this when it's finished. It's a simple hand technique. It's not complicated. It's just time consuming. Now we're going to take this pallid witch flesh, and we're going to do some hashes. And they're not going to be perfect. I have a thinner brush. I didn't even use my thinnest brush, but we're just going to do some hashes on there. So we got like a 2 hashes going this way. Over here, we're going to go put down 3 hashes, and we're going to kind of alternate around 2 and 3 hashes, change directions here and there, just kind of make up our own pattern all throughout the red squares.
Look at that Mephiston red. We did a lot of stuff with Mephiston red.
We did. We're going to highlight the corn red of the robes with the Mephiston red. So we're going to get a little bit in here, and we're going to get on the big robes. So I don't want to go over every detail of Freeblades, but suffice to say, it takes a kind of unique take on the alternating activation. If you ever played the Lord of the Rings game from Games Workshop, it's similar to that. So it's not I go, you go, I don't move and activate all my models, then you do the same with all yours, but it's also not a trade-off like Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Right.
Instead, we trade off in a phase. So we do the magic phase, and like I cast, and then you cast. Then we go to the movement phase. I move, and then you move. Then we do the shooting phase, which is all considered simultaneous, but just resolved in the order of initiative to kind of prevent confusion. Prevent confusion, but it's all simultaneous. So if your plan is to win initiative and shoot my shooters dead before I get to shoot, it doesn't work that way. You can still target them in the first turn, but I'm going to get their shots off before you kill them because it's simultaneous shooting in each round.
And can I speak to the thing that sells me the most?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so for the few ladies and wives and other groups, who are in the backgrounds, or who may be listening too. I know that we've just had a couple guys who commented, hey, my wife is listening in the background and she loves this. The coolest part for women about DGS Games and their wonderful Freeblades is there are strong female leaders, whole factions throughout the game.
It's true. There's actually a named one, the Black Rose.
Yes.
Is a female leader. So we're using the Evil Sun Scarlet to do the next layer of highlighting.
Yeah.
I was going to say one of the things that entices me is actually the miraculously wonderful community. Freeblades has one of the best communities in any war game I've ever touched. The lead game designer himself is and still has been and still is available to directly answer rules questions about the game, which is a rarity. I mean, the game's been out for 9-ish years. I think it started in 2012, around 9-ish years, and he still is available to answer these questions for people. They have a ton of lore about their world. It's actually a partner up with World Anvil, which is an RPG resource for those of you who are familiar. This is Kador Red Highlight, by the way, just doing extreme edge highlights of the red here.
There you go.
They've got the lore of all their world on World Anvil, so it is constantly growing. They're constantly adding more. There's a ton going on with lore. If lore is your thing, the gameplay is solid. It's a skirmish game, so you're not spending a huge amount of money. It's inexpensive. I think this model retails for $7.99. Whereas you look at something from certain larger game companies, and this model would cost $25 to $30.
Yep.
And this is still a white metal miniature. So kind of some old school style built into there on this particular one. So we did a plague brown followed by the golden yellow. We're just kind of highlighting the sash yellow, just kind of give a nice pop of color on this miniature.
Yeah, I think
no other reason. I just wanted to pop of color. So there's so much good to speak about with this game that I recommend you checking out DGSGames.com. Check out the Freeblades line. Even if you don't have an interest in Freeblades, they have an RPG game called Bright Sword that I think it's coming out of beta soon. I don't know when.
Yeah,
and I know
the
they're
plan
working
was for sometime maybe this next year.
Yeah, and I know they're working on an army level game as well called Free Captains. But if none of that is your jam, and you play RPGs or you play other games that might be miniatures agnostic, these are fantastic fantasy miniatures to put in your world. And they've got some unique stuff in there too. So I mean, they've got a whole line of like monsters and whatnot. They've got they've got the Golot, which is like an evil badger beaver bear.
Yeah, he really is. He's so
cute. They've got giant snakes, some of the coolest looking giant spiders on the market. There's a lot of really cool stuff. The Dryads are pretty cool. That's part of their demon line. Their demon line's pretty cool. So we had Arcadian Fleshtone doing the flesh. So we've kind of been gushing about this game without really saying a huge amount about it because I don't want to get into that. This is not a rules video. This is we're showing you painting a miniature. We are eventually thinking about doing a couple of Freeblades. We're going to do some Freeblade battle reports. Yes. Battle reports because it's just we are passionate about this game from the moment that we did our test run at a test game at Gen Con. Yeah, Gen Con years ago. I actually have signed up to be a questor for Freeblades. Again, I'm kind of referencing old stuff here. If you've played War Machine or if you played Warhammer way back in the day, Games Workshop had the Rough Riders, and then Privateer Press had the Press Gangers, and other companies have kind of loosely affiliated groups of volunteers who just kind of spread the love for the game. In Freeblades, they are called questers. I actually, full disclosure, I'm signed up to be a quester, so of course I'm going to tell you this game is great, but I'm only going to tell you it's great because I play it and I love it and I consider it great. I do truly consider it the best skirmish game on the market. I can't think of a better one. I mean, honestly, even like Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is clean and easy to play and it's a lot of fun, doesn't have the depth and the interest of Freeblades for me. So there's a lot going on with the game. It's absolutely worth checking out. Check out their Facebook group for DGS Games. I think it's called Freeblades Players. There's a whole thing that lets you find a quester in your area. There's quite a few of them in Canada. There's quite a few of them throughout the Midwest of the United States. There's some of us in the Southeast. I mean, it's growing. It's been constantly growing every single year. And one of the other cool things is the scenarios in the so you can see the colors that have been popping up. We're just highlighting the skin with all of them. So the Pallid Witch flesh here. You can see kind of where all the questers are. You can see the growth. And one of the other cool things is in the rulebook, the scenarios, there's a handful of what people might call competitive scenarios or balanced scenarios, and then there's an equal number of scenarios that get kind of goofier. I mean, some of them play up to 8 players, and this game scales up in the number of players, so you don't need just 2 players, and you're not going to break the game by going to 3, 4, and 5.
No,
the game is actually designed to support that many players, which is fantastic. But one of the really cool things is they also will open up things to the community to kind of submit scenarios and whatnot. I actually, again, full disclosure thing, one of the scenarios in the rulebook was written by me originally. Now, I know DGS Games kind of takes the scenario and they kind of tweak it to fit what would fit the world and all that good stuff, but it's still really cool that I can open up the rulebook and say, hey, this scenario was submitted by me. And that's just a really, really cool feeling. So on all the pouches and whatnot, we've got Rhinox Hide. Yeah, I'm still amazed that scenario won that particular game design contest because I submitted a couple scenarios. And a couple of them I actually put a lot of thought into, and the one that ended up winning, I wrote like 3 hours before the submission deadline.
No, but in your defense, you have played war games for
about 20 years now.
Yeah, and so you've kind of been there, done that, seen the pictures. And you are constantly trying to come up with new ways to improve your game.
That doesn't like me.
Yeah, you should try being me then. Because otherwise, who's the person who keeps telling me his ideas that he had on the way home or on the toilet? Who is that guy then? Who
are you inviting into my house? No, that's not me.
Lies.
So anyway, we've got this neutral gray. I'm just doing the trim of the robe in this neutral gray, only because we've got a lot of different color going on here, and I wanted something neutral to help break it up a little bit. Kind of do some shading of the metallic areas with our Nuln oil. This is pretty standard if you've seen any of our other videos. This is less about...
Oh, there you go.
I knew this was coming. This is like the 5th video we recorded tonight. I knew a yawn was coming.
Eventually. It was building.
This is less of a tutorial. If you've watched our videos, the techniques I'm doing are not new to you. But this should just kind of give you an idea of what we're tackling. So I got a bunch of different colors going on here.
Yeah, what are you about to do here?
I don't remember.
Are you?
I think the red was to do...
Oh, okay. You're doing the...
I painted this mini, a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. A month ago.
No, it was almost a month and a half ago.
Anyway, I painted this mini.
He sat on your desk for a while.
So I don't remember. No, he didn't. I started paying him right when he came in. Remember, we didn't think he was going to come in time.
Oh, that's right. We were worried about timing with him.
Yeah, I ordered him, and he came. I was just adding splashes of color. So there's like a little cord that comes down to some cordage and some of the things on the hilts. This is just splashes of color. This wolf gray here, just kind of doing a little highlighting on this rock. Make this rock look a little bit lighter.
It's a rocky rock.
And then as far as the metallics go, there's that big metallic thing on his back, and there's the one on the shoulder, and we're doing the wolf gray on his hair because traditional Trillian hair in the lore of Phalon, which is the world that Freeblades takes place in, is white. Man, this game is so good. I really suggest, even if you're not a war gamer, this is a game to get involved in. One of the shticks that they have is DGS says you can get 2 people going in this game for $100, and they're dead right. Their starter box,
absolutely true.
Well, actually, I haven't checked the price on their starter box in a little bit because I haven't needed a starter box in a while. But they were $45. I think a couple of them have gone up in price because of material costs, but they haven't gone up significantly. But you figure they're not lying. If you're $45 for a starter box, $45 for a second starter box, $10 for the rulebook, there's $100. 2 people are playing, and one of the beauty of it is this is traditionally a 200 point game. I'm seeing some more people are starting to play it around 275. But for perspective on what that really means is every starter box is 150 points, or 150 gold is what they call it. Every single one of them. Every single one of them is 150. So if you're playing 250 or 275, you're a starter box plus 3 or 4 minis away from a full-size force. I mean, if you're a war gamer and you're like, I want to start a new army of something, especially if you're playing one of the big army games, you're talking $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900.
Yeah.
I think somebody priced out some of the more popular Warhammer 40K builds recently, and they did. Oh. They came out to like $900 to $1,000 just to buy the models off the shelf. Whereas over here, if I want to start a new Freeblades faction, I can drop $100, get a full-size force, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's awesome. It makes it an inexpensive war game. $100 is nothing in wargaming.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Nasdrag yellow over the silver. I just want to make this stuff gold. The only thing I left silver was the sword.
No. And the thing is, for me, is the models are worth it.
They are. Like I said, they're versatile, too. You can use them in D&D. You can use them in other games. You can use them in Freeblades.
Actually, we've used them in D&D.
We have indeed.
We've used them because there were a couple of the models that seemed like they would just be a good fit for a character Chris was playing.
Yeah, well, that really drew me, and what really drew me in was Romans with dinosaurs.
Romans with dinosaurs,
there's a faction that can be best described as Romans with dinosaurs. I don't entirely agree with the social policies of the empire they're a part of, but it's Romans, and they have dinosaurs, and everybody loves dinosaurs, and I have an unhealthy amateur historian obsession with ancient Rome, or classical Rome, I should say.
Yeah, classical Rome.
Classical and early Imperial. Late Imperial, not as fun. Really,
because it just started getting weird.
Really early Republican, not as fun. I kind of like that mid to late Republican / early Imperial. That's kind of my jam. And I get freaking dinosaurs with Romans in the same faction.
Because Chris also, like all good children of the late 80s and early 90s, loves dinosaurs. Because Jurassic Park.
Everybody loves dinosaurs all the time. Anyone who doesn't is a liar, and we're not friends anymore. And that's just the way it is.
So yes, and Chris has become within the group of Freeblades a bit of a meme.
I'm the guy who needs more dinosaur.
Always looking for more dinosaur.
I have so many Vezerin.
Now this is kind of a cool thing that we haven't seen, Chris. We did a tips and tech.
I'm based on the model.
Months ago.
I'm based on the model.
Look, Chris is actually basing a model.
This is not the black base that you see on my Power Rangers figs.
It is not the.
I'm painting glue onto the base. This is just standard white school glue. I'm painting it onto the base. This is the tutorial part of this video.
There you go. You get to see Chris base a model again for like the first time.
I'm using an old crappy brush because whatever brush you use will be ruined.
Oh yeah, glue is rough on.
This is my glue and brush. This is my tub of sand. I have a tub of sand. I just rub the model inside the tub of sand. I go ahead and scrape off some of the excess sand over the edges of the miniature.
And let it sit.
I wait for it to dry completely.
Usually about 24 hours, guys, just to be real.
And then I have actually found that contrast paints have been a godsend for painting bases on miniatures that are already painted. Mm-hmm. Depending on the miniature, sometimes I'll sand the base before I even paint anything.
Yeah.
On this particular miniature, I did it the other way around. I have found that contrast paint is a godsend for this. It can be painted right over the straight sand.
And it doesn't like pull the sand up the way that some of the other paints will. Like some of the other base paints.
Some of the other paints can.
Yeah. When you're like, well, they just wet my whole base. There's on my sand.
So anyway, we get that all painted up. We're going to let that dry completely. And then the last step of the base, I'm just doing a simple basing job on that. There's absolutely nothing fancy here. We're just taking our same little glue, and I'm just putting a couple little dabs of glue here and there.
Are you going to flock it?
I'm going to flock it. Here's my tub of grass. So the tub of static grass, I got this. Is Woodland Scenics. I got this from a model train store. It's a lot cheaper than buying it at a hobby shop, and it's the exact same product. Just put a little grass on there, kind of give them a little pop. Basing really changes the look of an overall miniature. And there you go. We're done with our Freeblades Trillian Enforcer. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to do more Freeblades minis in the future because I do have some more to paint. Like and subscribe for more content. Hit the bell button for notifications, and we certainly hope to showcase more of this great game for you.
Bye! Have fun! Check out new stuff and get fun! Still looking at the butt of the model. Hey, model butt. Bye.